Go.
In the kitchen cabinet inside of Devonta Adams' home Taco Bell, an elite group consisting of Ambassador Woody Johnson, Hurricane Milton survivors, Baja Blast consumers, Claremont McKenna water polo supporters, and Connor Lyons fought and toiled and birthed the Midnight Oil. It is an honor and a privilege to bring you the greatest segment in all of fantasy sports. This is Sea Lies Tears.
Thank you, Sebi. We're going to Sea Lies Tears right now. And here we are. This was a good Tears week. The committee had a bye week last week. As you know, there was a Hurricane Milton. Our guy Marvin was stuck down in Tampa. He did make it out. We were also able to get both Don Jr. and Don Sr. to the meeting this week, so it was a great week. Let's start off with the eliminated group. We've had no new additions. Sorry, I'm just having a little Pacifico. Been a great day. Had a great midterm today, and 17's back in the rightful owner's hands. So we're celebrating. Back to the tiers. There's nothing to talk about here. He's just eliminated. That is TT Smaller Bear. Now, these guys are on the clock, both in two ways. On the clock of getting eliminated from the tiers, as these guys will both be facing elimination this week. With a loss, they will be eliminated from the tiers. Additionally, if they are eliminated, then they are also on the clock for next year's draft, or potentially, I guess, a third way would be the stand-up comedy club. So these guys are facing elimination this week. Alive but uninteresting. That's how I would describe Vicas's team here. If CMC comes back in a couple weeks for some reason, alive. But once again, this team's uninteresting. He's made a couple trades. It's a meh roster, so we'll just move along. Nobody actually believes. Now, this type of name is reserved for somebody who is, let's say, better than their record. You could say that about the Minnesota Vikings right now. Nobody actually believes. Nobody actually believes in Team AMAX, Eli's Tears, as his new name. Nobody actually believes. There's a lot of holes in the roster, like Rashad White, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, guys that the committee just hates and just nuisances. So there's no reason to actually believe. Impossible to trust. Now, this one's pretty simple. You got the Glazers, you got T-Boss, and you got James Cook. These teams, a lot of upside, but can you trust them week to week? A lot of these guys drop a dud week here and there. They throw in sub 90, which we call the Tolman special around here. These guys are known to potentially do that, but they have very high ceilings. So low floor, high ceiling type of guys. So we'll move on. RELAX. Relax. That's what everybody should be saying about these teams, especially their owners. Mike Vick's Doghouse. We got Witness Greatness, and we got Gotham's Reckoning. It's pretty simple. A lot of guys questioning these teams right now. Do they have it? Well, let's just say the committee is telling everybody to RELAX. Relax. That's what we got to say about these teams. Deep rosters, love them. The committee's in love with these teams. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And guess what? That guy, Sebi, the Golden State Gropers manager, Sebi Aliaga, like a good neighbor, Rogers is there for his guy. Tay is back in the Big Apple, and the committee cannot ignore that. They cannot stay away. I mean, the 12 to 17 combo is back, baby. Let's go. Amazing stuff. And that's going to do it for the tiers, but we do have another segment coming up here, actually. Oh my goodness. Why, Sebi, where are you right now?
Guys, I'm sitting here atop of Manager Mountain. It's getting really chilly down here. Going through it. just trying to keep on the climb. Some guys have definitely fallen off. Even one guy made the choice not to climb today. Not sure who that guy was, left him in the dust, but it's going to be a good episode of Manager Mountain here.
Thank you, Sebi. Back to Manager Mountain. Here we go. So today we have someone who is not climbing today, and they've slid off the mountain. Let's say that person is Manager Tucker Tolman. He is he decided climbing wasn't for him, so we'll just leave it there. Then we go to the bottom row. Now, the thing about Manager Mountain, I would like to remind everybody, unlike Mahomes Mountain, which is not left to right, Manager Mountain is a left to right system. So far left is the highest of that level, far right is the lowest of that level. So here's the last row. Parnes, T-Mac, Giavara, Teddy, and LCA. These are some questionable managers. Parnes, luckily for him, there's not a lot to grade him on. So we can't judge too harshly. The rest of these guys, some of these guys admit, hey, fantasy's not for me. Some of these guys think they know ball, like the guy on the far right, and well, it's pretty evident he does not know ball. So let's just continue with the next level. Now, this is where the teams step up a bit. A lot of these managers have been questioned throughout the years. Two of them have never made the playoffs, the two on the far right, but they're fighting. They're showing grit. And the two guys on the left, a lot of guys either sleep on one of them and maybe overreact to the other. Still really great managers at the end of the day. Then we got a couple of Aidens and a Sebi, and these guys are proven managers. I mean, the guy on the far left, he's a world changer for Teddy. Great co-manager hired by him. These guys are just great managers. They get it done every day. Let's move to the next tier. This is where it really starts to beef up. These guys are seasoned veterans. They know about winning. Winning is in their blood. Some of them get very lucky, maybe the guy on the right of this tier. Some of them just draft rookies and know one of them's going to pop. Either way, great to be those guys. And at the top of the tiers, there wasn't really any question in my book. It's witness greatness. This guy got the gene, man. A lot of the Tolmans didn't get the eye test gene. He got it. If we go all the way back, I wonder, can I go back? Because witness, there's enough said about him. I'd like to rip into this guy. This guy is a horrendous manager. He does not know what he's doing. Every trade he's made in the last couple of years, horrible. He thinks his really good team from 2 years ago is still going to be good today. Newsflash, nobody was scared. You said you got your guys, they're all fucking bums. You need to take some soul searching, get into the mock draft. This is awful. Your trades, you think they're going to save you from the toilet bowl? You're done. You get ready to start prepping for comedy. And that'll conclude Manager Mountain. We can just run through it again. Here's the managers. Seb, let me hear it.
I just want to start with one thing here, Connor. Is Manager Mountain also a committee found thing, or is
No.
No.
This is strictly me.
This is Connor Lyons, Manager Mountain.
Yes.
I'm gonna put my beanie back on just to do a little tip of the cap here.
Wow.
A little tip of the cap. Really well done here.
Any issues with the mountain?
I didn't see many. Myself above Augie, I think, is a little questionable. He does have the ring. I know I had a really good year, and I love where my team's at. Being atop the tiers right now, I do think should come into factor here. And I think you value that. The only other one I question is Aiden Giavara has been dominant. He has taken a team. He's taken a team from the floor, and I know that the Justin Lowe, Casper Aliaga tiers.
It's a high bar.
It's pushing on the Whitaker Tolman tier for sure.
It is.
But Aiden Giavara's made a lot of really, really good moves, and I'd love to see him get a little more respect. I know Manager Lowe, he likes where he's at, but something tells me that the firepower just leans a little more into Manager Aiden Giavara. And glad we separated the A and the J there. Make sure Jackson was his rightful
Yeah.
place.
But admittedly, Jackson, he knows he's not a fantasy aficionado. So we're not going to grade him as harshly. He knows he's behind the 8 ball every year. And one of these years it's going to pop. It's not this year, but one of these years it will. Unlike, guy in the bottom right, a guy who decided climbing wasn't for him, who believe in their fantasy genius. I gotta grade you harsher. We're not here. We're not just a rings. Mahomes Mountain isn't all about rings. Okay, it's a comprehensive look at everything, and I thought this was the best way to shake it out. Anything on the tiers you had? You can go back to the tiers. Anything on the tiers you had?
The tiers here, it's tough. If I wanted the standings, I know I got to go to USA Today.
That's correct.
Seeing the Mito Pereira there at the bottom, I want to say it's awful, but it's tough to argue. His team does not show up week in and week out. Olave's banged up. It's a lot of guys who are a little fugazi. It's not
Wazzy
real.
woozy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. The top. I think the difference between the top tier and one step down is razor thin.
Razor thin.
And honestly, I think the trade today, in my opinion, was what separated those teams. And I like that the committee factored that in. I know they probably had to make a rehash meeting. So I do appreciate that from the committee stepping up in the 11th hour. And really, the one last thing I want to say is for Hecht and Jackson, it's been a long, tough fought road. These guys have both dealt with tough injuries. All their top guys just seemingly go down or get affected with Tua's injury. It's tough to see them already on the clock. It felt a little early for me, but I know where the committee's at. And I just got to say, I wish them the best of luck this week and hope to see them on the tiers next week.
Yeah, I mean, the committee likes to be 1 week early. When both of those two and TT Smaller Bear were both 0-3, we only put one of them on the clock. Actually, no, that's a lie. We put 2, but Jackson got the job done. Holman didn't. And, this week, once again, if these guys don't get the job done, we're going to be a week early on it. And, that's what here at the committee we pride ourselves on, is being a week early rather than a week late. And yeah, I mean, I'd say the best tier name definitely was for Mito Pereira. And nobody actually believes, like you said, nobody actually believes. So, I guess that will wrap up CLI's tiers and Manager Mountain. I don't know if Manager Mountain will be a weekly segment, but we'll definitely make another appearance this year. Yeah, I guess if you got anything else, then add it in. If not, we're gonna shut this thing down.
Just may the best man win. Here we go, boys.
Here we go. All right. Awesome. All right. See you guys.